Good morning, everyone. This is Barb Kensler from the Admissions Office. Thanks for joining us in our presentation this morning from the Arts Department. I'm going to introduce you to Jeff Brown, Head of our Arts Department. Jeff?
Thank you, Barb. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Thayer Academy's Open House. I'm sitting in Frothingham Hall in one of our 3 music studios. This is our largest room. This is a 40 by 40 room, bright and airy. I wish you could be here to see this. Our facilities here they're all huge. The art room, which is upstairs, is twice as big as this room. So we have a lot of great places to do things. And my job in the next 15 minutes is to let you know everything there is to know about fine and performing arts at Thayer. But before we start with that, sometimes a live performance and showing students in action is worth 1,000 words. So this is one of our groups that's called Jazz Combo or rock bands. We do a whole variety of different music. There's 9 of these that we have on campus. The one here today has freshmen, sophomore, junior, and seniors all represented there. They choose the music we want to do, and sometimes we pick something that's very familiar when we're going to perform for an open house situation, and sometimes we try to find something that's a little bit different. So they found a tune called Halfway Up by an up-and-coming band called The Brook and the Bluff, and they're going to be performing that for you today. We hope you enjoy it. And then after that, I'm going to move into my office so I can talk to you a little bit more about all the stuff that's going on here. Thank you. Okay, so that gives you an idea of one of our groups. I also like to thank Dan Alosa, who's on your screen. Dan is the house manager of the CFA, piano teacher, and also our sound technician. And Dan's the one that figured out how to make all of this sound get into a computer to come to you today. So I want to thank Dan for that. So just a little pause here while I move into my office so I can talk to you more about our program. Thank you.
While Jeff is moving to his office, if you do have a question, we will try to get to some of them. Our time is limited today, but certainly put it in the chat. I know someone asked if we are practicing. Our upper school is in a hybrid mode right now. The school's divided into half, so half the alphabet comes one day, the other half on another day. And the kids are going to classes, which would include their jazz combo. So they are practicing during the pandemic. And I will let Jeff answer the question. Jeff, there was one question about can clarinet be part of a jazz band? So I'll leave it up to you.
Okay, great. Well, I can answer that one real quick first. All the winds and strings that we have at the school are that perform in a group called the New Music Ensemble, which gives them an opportunity to play instrumental music, which fits more for their instruments. In these particular combos, when we've tried it before with horn players, they don't just have enough to play, and we felt the educational concept wasn't as strong. So the group for New Music Ensemble plays a lot of popular music, very similar concept to this, but it's just all instrumental focused on them. So hope that answers the question. We've found that to be working very, very well for us. Okay, so the facilities, as I mentioned, here are awesome at Thayer with the Center for Arts, and also in Frothingham Hall here. There's a studio upstairs that's twice as big. We have photo studios, ceramic studios, just great facilities for our kids. One of the biggest questions I always get is, are there conflicts between sports and athletics? I mean, sports and athletics and arts. I'm a head coach for 2 varsity sports. I coach track and field and cross country. I work very closely with Rick Forrester. But what makes it very easy for us is that we believe in arts, athletics, and academics is the core part of the curriculum of their life. And so all of our arts courses are scheduled during the school day. So that eliminates all conflicts with sports. It's part of the curriculum. All of our electives in the performing arts are 9 through 12. Students can be involved with those. The visual arts are 10 through 12. And all of our courses are pass-fail. We don't believe in grading creativity. And we also want them to come and try new things, something they haven't done before, without that pressure of grading. And to that end, we also allow them to move at their own speed. We think it's really important for a student to develop what they want to do, to create something and then evaluate and with their teacher, and then recreate from there, maybe come up with a whole different concept than what they started with. They follow our curriculum in the courses, but they're allowed to vary. An example, in this group that you just heard play, they choose all the music they want to play. I also choose music for them to have of things that I think would be a good educational piece to learn, but they're the ones that decide what they want to perform when they perform, and they pick this piece to do today. So our emphasis is really on the process of what we do, how we go about doing it. The product is a great end result. You know, I always tell them that concerts are our student art show, which is amazing. You know, that's just kind of the frosting on the cake. It was the traveling to get there that was our most important part of what we do here. We have 12 people in the arts department that work in all different areas. So we're able to offer a wide array that you can read about of different electives. We also offer private voice and instrumental lessons here on campus, or right now we're doing it Zoom, which we started doing last summer, which worked very well because we realized we weren't confined to the school day. So we continue that into the fall because it just made it easier on their off days, or if there's a later afternoon time for a private lesson, they can get that. And it's very convenient, and it's been working very, very well. The only thing that's outside of our day is usually our theater productions, which are huge. And in the fall, we would normally do a musical that would have about 120 students involved with cast and crew. With our restrictions now, we're doing a different project. Kelly Hines, our theater director, who's brilliant at coming up with creative ideas. I always like listening to what she's coming up with next. Came up with this idea of, she's combined her acting class, her choirs, the dance classes all together to do a project called Working 9 to 5. and they've brought in 8 alums from the school that are in the arts. They brought in 3 or 4 professionals that are working in the arts, and there's lots of interviews, there's dance sequences, there's songs. There'll be a time when we have a drone is going to film on the football field about 100 students out on the spread out on the whole football field dancing to 9 to 5, the Dolly Parton tune. It's just a great joint project that we've come up with that will take the place of what would have normally been here in the fall. We normally have 3 major theater productions a year. We have 2 major music concerts each term, so it's 4 for the year, and the same with dance. So there's 4 of those for the year. So that's kind of what we have here for them. And but really more important is why we do what we do. Sir Ken Robinson, the English educationalist, who's a brilliant man, if you've ever heard him speak on any of his TED Talks, he has studied educational processes for all of the world. And a few years ago, he said that he felt having creativity in education was as important as literacy. And in a speech I heard last year, he said that he now feels that creativity is as important as literacy, because we need to prepare them to be able to understand what's coming next. And they're heading out into a world for things that have not been invented yet. It's a very different look for this generation than our generations to see what's coming for them. So we want them to be able to understand that there's a way to come up with multiple right answers to complex questions. And through the creative concepts that we offer here, they have that experience. They do that all the time in their art and their theater, in their music classes, and their dance classes. They're always coming up with ideas, creating and recreating, which is the essence of what we do. So again, I'm very proud of the concept that Thayer has here with the arts, academics, and athletics all playing a critical role in students' lives. It works very well. We really think that art should be a part of the daily fabric of their life. We make it accessible to them all the time. A lot of students take more than one art elective, and 40 or 45 even take more than that. So whatever they can fit in their schedule, time management, of course, we allow them to do that. So that's what we do here. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Or if I've answered them all, that's great.
Jeff, maybe you could talk a little bit about the freshman art experience.
Sure. We have a freshman course called the Foundations of Arts, and they rotate through art, theater, and music for 1 term each through the year. The class stays together in their class time, and it gives them a strong overview and an introduction to the art forms. They may find that they had a talent in painting and drawing that they never knew they had and want to pursue that as an art elective later on. The theater concept, they may find, wow, this is really kind of fun doing this, or even coming into music. We don't learn instruments because it's a shorter period of time, but we do what I call an ears-on approach, where they're listening and analyzing a lot of popular music that they listen to, and also looking at a history of music that brings them to that point. But my students in the music part, I teach the music part, are actively involved with that part in terms of what they're interested in hearing about. And we study everything from where rock and roll began to where it came from in classical music, right up through what's coming next and kind of concepts from that. And also taking a look at the Beatles and what they did in the 60s that completely revolutionized the concept of the art form. They were so innovative in what they did in terms of the first live rock concerts ever, music, etc. So we examine that as well. So it's a great course for them to get started and get to know the faculty here as well. Good question, Barbara. Thank you.
Anyone else has a question, they can pop it in the chat. Otherwise, we just have about another minute or so here. I have posted the landing page in the chat. So you'll be able to click on that to move to your next link. And it looks like I do have one question. The question is, hello, I'm currently designing the characters for my own graphic novel. Is there room for independent artwork?
Yes, we have in all of our art studios, we have a regular curriculum, but the studios are open all the time. So on a free period study hall, anytime a student wants to come in and talk with one of our arts teachers about an independent project, we welcome that. That's that whole thing, you know, with Ken Robinson about developing creativity and encouraging it and fostering that and helping them navigate through that. So yes, we would love that. And our graphic design class teacher, I'm sure, would be very interested in helping you with that.
Great. And here's another question, Jeff. My apologies. Did I hear you say that theater is not built into the school day like other art courses? Also, how competitive is theater? how will a student who is just beginning in theater be able to participate?
Okay, great question. We have acting classes, theater classes in our regular curriculum. That's in there. It's our major productions that we put outside the school day because of the number of students that are involved. And that's after sports practice. But our theater director doesn't schedule everybody every day. They're only scheduled when their scenes are being rehearsed. So the time management isn't such a big deal. But in the fall, that's our big musical. And if you come to the audition or just tell the director you want to be in it, you automatically get the experience to come in there. And it's a great mentorship. There are student leaders in the theater programs that help the younger kids develop and learn. They all learn the dance sequences together. So that's a big moment in the winter, and in the spring, smaller productions, but still by audition, but still open for many opportunities for younger students to have the opportunity to do that.
Great. Let's see, I think there's one more question, then we'll have to get going.
Okay.
Are African Americans in music history studied?
Yes, absolutely. You know, we know from where music started was in the gospel spirituals, as we go through Dixieland, ragtime, even up to the 50s with the Motown sound that was coming out of Detroit, with the Temptations, Four Tops, the Platters, the Spinners, all those bands. That's all in part of my music. The freshmen in the freshman arts course, we go through that history and definitely introduce them to all those people, right up to then Jimi Hendrix and what he was doing, Earth, Wind and Fire, you know, bands like that just absolutely were a huge part of the music industry, are studied very clearly and just as much as any other part of the classic rock era.
Great, thanks, Jeff. And unfortunately, that's all the time we have. So thank you to everyone for coming to our arts presentation. The landing page is in the chat if you need it to move on to your next session. Have a great day.
Thank you all.